Hey everybody, how's it going? Hope you're having a great day. So there was a comment that was one of the most highly voted comments on a recent video that I did that was asking if I would like to get right to repair passed in additional states rather than just New York, that perhaps I should try and change up the branding of it a little bit. Perhaps I should try to paint it as anti-woke and this, that, and the other, because that may get people to, go on board with it, because that's what's all the rage on the news nowadays. And I wanted to discuss why it is that I would never take that particular path or strategy. Before I even get into that, I just want to read a comment from somebody that works in the New York State Assembly, that there was one person who was kind of giving us advice and helping us have an idea of how things were going on last year, and he is in the Slack channel for Repair Preservation Group. He said, "I can't emphasize enough how crazy it is that this passed nearly unanimously in the Assembly. For those who aren't aware, it passed 145 to 1. There was one person that voted against it. You also had senior Republicans get up to applaud the bipartisan effort on this bill, literally congratulated the Democrat sponsor for this work, when literally last night they were at each other's throats on gun legislation, and what was probably the worst display of decorum that any staffer has seen in the last 20 years. This bill brought moral enemies together to achieve a common goal, and in my opinion, this is honestly the greatest victory from today. This example of bipartisanship could really shift the momentum on this issue around the country. Rub this in the face of every corporate lobbyist who ever doubted you for all you were doing. They were not only dead wrong, but they should feel embarrassed for their bad faith arguments. You guys gave people their voice, and you should all feel extremely proud right now. Once again, congratulations. And I want to say thank you very much to Matt for all of his help in just teaching us and giving us insight into the inner workings of how the assembly works, and also for that kind comment. One of the things that I've said on this channel for many times over the past several years is that it doesn't really matter what side of the political divide you're on. You want to fix your own stuff. If you are a left-wing person, you probably care about the environment and don't want to see things get thrown away that don't have to be thrown away unnecessarily. And you also probably don't like the idea of a company that is worth $2 or $3 trillion trying to crush small businesses by keeping them from being able to repair products and provide jobs to people in that community. And you also probably want people who are poor to be able to have access to repairs that they otherwise would not have been able to have access to. And if you're somebody who is on the right, the idea of, Tim Cook or some Silicon Valley billionaire douchebag telling you that you're too stupid to work on your own product because you might hurt yourself. You need us to tell you how to do that for you because you're too... See, it doesn't matter what side of the political divide you're on. There's a way to sell this to people that doesn't involve being divisive, because it doesn't matter where people are. They want to be able to fix what they own. It doesn't matter what the letter is next to their name. It doesn't matter what they think of gun control, abortion, immigration, taxation, like modern monetary theory versus Austrian economics. All that other shit goes aside when it comes to when you go to get your car fixed. Do you want to spend $6,000 at the dealer or $179 down the street? When it comes to your laptop or your cell phone or your tractor or medical equipment for a hospital, it needs to be able to make... Do you want to pay the dealer price, or do you want to be able to have somebody who may have more knowledge than the dealer, maybe better at repairs than the dealer, do it at an economically viable rate? Do you want the choice? And what I find is that most people, regardless of political affiliation, think that's cool. And even the people that disagree with the concept of this being in the law, it doesn't tend to be because they are against the concept of having the ability to repair their products or the ability to choose who fixes their products. They simply disagree with using the government to get that done because they believe the government is ineffective and incompetent, which... honestly, it's fucking hard to argue with that. But besides the point, regardless of where people are in the political divide, what I like to do is I like to focus on making it personal to them in a manner that is not going to put people at each other's throats. Because the moment something becomes a culture war, you don't get anything done. The moment you have half of the country against the other half of the country, you just stop making progress. Like, you stop making progress in anything that matters. And that's why you have people that are more and more angry about everything nowadays, because they don't feel like they're making progress on anything. Once people sense that you are over there, even if they actually agree with the issue because they're over here, the lizard brain part that is tribalistic is going to think, okay, well, how can I convince myself to be against whatever they're saying because they're over there? And I don't want to activate that part of anybody's head when it comes to this particular issue, nor do I think there's a reason to. And the reason that I think that you get so little progress in so many issues nowadays are because even where there may be areas of common ground or agreement, well, you're over there, and you said this, so that means that I probably have to say the opposite because I'm over here. And it just gets so old and so aggravating and so annoying. And one of the ways that I hope to bypass that altogether is to be able to present my arguments in a manner where they are just not involved in the day-to-day culture war nonsense that we deal with on a regular basis. But I'm not going to invoke this stuff, even if I think that it would be likely to make it easier to push something into a legislature in one particular area or get a quick win in the short term, because I think it screws you in the long term. And I'm in this for the long term. This is one of those very, very, very few issues. And this is one of the things that I've always tried to get across, because people will always say, Lewis, there's more important things in the country than right to repair. There's war in Ukraine, and there's inflation, and there's this, and there's that, and there's immigration, and there's shootings, and all this other stuff. Like, there are more important issues than right to repair. And you know what? Point taken. There's more important issues than Lewis not being able to get an ISL 9240 so that he can do data recovery on your MacBook. But you know what I can tell you? There's very few issues in this country right now where you can get a 145 to 1 vote in a starkly divided legislature. How many other issues in the United States could you get that type of vote on? And that's one of the reasons that I really would never in a million years even entertain turning this into a culture war or entertaining any of that bullshit. Because I did a video a while back where in Missouri they were trying to say that right to repair is linked to and funded by George Soros. Like, I had to do a video clarifying this at one point. Yeah, here we go. So this video, Missouri voters, Louis Rossman is not funded by George Soros, and I have the obligatory bruh in the title because they actually used a picture of, like, you see what they're doing. They're trying, and honestly, I just don't understand. Like, okay, maybe now with the douchey sunglasses and the fancy schmancy Banana Republic polo shirt, I can understand how somebody could think that I'm funded by George Soros. But back then, like, you got to be shitting me. But in all seriousness, this is important. And the reason it's important is if you try to turn something into some cultural issue to get a couple of quick, cheap votes here or there, you may wind up turning people away later. And one of the things that I love about this issue is, regardless of whether I have some sort of hipster anarcho-communist show up to a soldering workshop here, or I go to, rural Nebraska to visit a farm where everybody that I meet there is always voting the same color as their steak, dark red, I'm going to meet people that understand this cause, that agree with it, that if they disagree on everything else, they agree on this one thing, which allows you to make progress. And I'm never going to give that up just to try and get quick political points in the moment or show up on a news network by trying to paint something as something that it's not. I like the fact that right to repair engages and includes everyone. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Do you think I'm taking the right approach, or do you think I'm taking the wrong approach? And that's why it took me over 7 years to get a bill passed in my ex-home state. I am curious as to what the 8,000 people that are still subscribed to this channel have to say. That's it for today, and as always, I hope you learned something. I'll see you all in the next video.